Employers are facing really significant challenges in today's economy. We have a misalignment of employers' needs and the graduates who are exiting both our K-12 systems as well as our higher education systems.
It's top of mind for everyone on tariffs, geopolitics, supply chain resiliency. A lot of talk and reports coming out of the US government around this topic, and a lot of professionals are looking at this and saying, all right, maybe there is a supply chain resiliency problem, and seeing what the impact is on their own supply chain.
A new technology is introduced to a manufacturing process, they have to shut down the manufacturing line. The TTSC aims to solve that by providing the space to do offline scale prototyping of new manufacturing processes. They can get the technology right and then pack it up and insert it into the manufacturing process with minimal downtime.
Most companies don't have the resources to really understand the root causes of their talent challenges, especially small and medium-sized businesses. Without robust learning and development and HR divisions focused on identifying skills gap and potential talent pipelines, they really find themselves at a disadvantage trying to navigate workforce ecosystems.
Supply chains, they're very tightly controlled systems. When you change anything about that system, you're going to cause havoc on the system. So having a place to actually test these new technologies and actually bring them to a level of readiness that you can bring them into the supply chain without a lot of risk, that's going to be a game changer.
Game Change aims to solve that through the TTSCs by having the space where folks are focused on innovation, having right access to the right tools, to the right people that can help them in circular technologies and sustainable manufacturing scaling, and by providing the space to do it.
There's a few steps still required to get from vision to reality on the TTSC. First is securing the funding. We currently have a group of our founding partners sitting around the table. The next thing is to lock in their commitments, turn those commitments into an actionable plan, and then start working on an understanding of CapEx costs and facility being opened.
Innovation hubs really are kind of, engines for regional growth, and what they do really well is they bring together lots of different partners and they bring them all together in one space. And that density is really critical because it allows for all these interactions to occur. I think building these spaces that bring together and create those communities is so meaningful, but also really supercharges innovation.
I think you'll need representation all the way from finance, investors, and then also some real experience and expertise with respect to the actual remanufacturing across multiple product types.
What excites me the most about the TTSC is the opportunity to plant a flag here for the region, the ability to resource an R&D pipeline in our state and in our region that currently stops at discovery and idea stage thinking.
It's such a great regional location for this type of work. I think there's such tremendous assets all around it, so many different corporate partners around here. It's just a really phenomenal foundation to build upon.
The density of startups is the number one thing that venture capitalists look for. The TTSC is going to be able to bring all of that together.
This is absolutely going to change the way that we innovate, collaborate, and train talent. It creates that central hub where you have the ability to train talent right in the space where new technologies are being developed. So this gives us the opportunity to have one physical space where we can test at scale new technologies and have the training component right there, co-located where this is going to happen.
From my perspective as a venture capitalist, the necessity for increased speed, increased connectivity, and increased collaboration inherently necessitates density. If you look at all of the great ecosystems for startups, the reason why they're successful is density. And what the TTSC is going to bring to us is that specific collaborative density that we need in order to rapidly iterate, rapidly ideate, and rapidly innovate for the entire Commonwealth.
The Circular Economy Workforce Innovation Network, it brings awareness to the network of assets by providing concierge support services to employers engaged in Game Change. These individuals really serve as extensions of HR teams, lightening the lift, allowing them to navigate resources, and then once they're tapping into programs, initiatives, and talent pipelines, our concierge team then identifies existing gaps.
The TTSC will improve collaboration among manufacturers by simply talking about their waste products, their excess inventory, and thinking about circularity together. Creating a forum and a space for that type of collaboration does not exist today.
I think an investment in TTSC is critically important for economic growth, for anything that is helping to ensure that the talent is keeping pace with the opportunity. So having a center like this to be able to assist with that and build a proper workforce that can accelerate growth is critically important to the economy and the lives of the individuals who live in the region.
We lack physical infrastructure to test and scale technologies at manufacturing pilot level. An investment in this is an investment in the entire manufacturing and supply chain base across our landscape, have shared access to a place where R&D can become an activated pipeline. We expect we'll have external parties, firms, companies, investors that would flock to this region because it's where we're planting the flag and where these resources are located. For that reason, the state has been one of our partners ever since this was just an idea.
Biggest thing states can do is recognize the opportunity and provide some incentives. What we're talking about here isn't just traditional new manufacturing capabilities. We're talking about new capabilities that we haven't really done at scale across multiple types of industries, where remanufacturing, refurbishment, marketplace development. So there's a whole new infrastructure for the economy that needs to be developed. And I think the state needs to think about this as investing in infrastructure to create new opportunities for its citizens.
The TTSC is also solving a major pain point for some of our startups and small businesses in the region. There's only so much you can do in a small space, whether it's your own lab at benchtop level or in your office space. It's much better to scale up your technology as it would be seen in a true manufacturing facility.
These hubs really become regional engines and powerhouses for driving innovation, increasing innovation. Creating spaces with that density in mind is a really powerful way to drive innovation. We've seen tremendous success of that globally and nationally.
The history of this place goes back to 1956. The IBM site was first put into place, and over the next 30 years there was a hive of manufacturing activity here, from the Selectric typewriter to keyboards to laser printers. And then in 1991 IBM spun that off to make Lexmark. This site was then used for office space for our firmware and software engineers. That has moved global now, and the need for that office space has gone away. And so now this site remains open and waiting for the next opportunity. And we're excited about the game change opportunity with the Technology and Talent Scale Center.
Lexington TTSC space at Lexmark Xerox is a one-of-a-kind space. We're surrounded by amazing labs. We're surrounded by facilities that can prototype PCBAs and parts, can make tools and test materials. It's all surrounding us. So to convert this space into a TTSC is a relatively short putt.
What the TTSC means for this region actually is that if it is successful, is that it's going to place the region to be the leader in developing circular economy technology.
Another benefit of the TTSC is that it brings together the expertise that we have in the region from the different universities, from the different research organizations into one place that all these technology companies will have access to, which they will not have otherwise.
You have such strength in the corporates that are here, the thought leadership in this area around this topic, around the circular economy, the universities and our own research centers and other research, that you're able to bring in new thought leaders and new research into an area and really say to the world, this is where you need to be if you want to work on circular economy.
I oftentimes see organizations that are running very quickly towards new technologies, that sexy, shiny object that's out there, like the utilization of AI in supply chain, for example. But if we're not scaling the talent at the same pace, what you end up having is companies making investments in technologies and then looking backwards and saying, why didn't I get the return on that investment that I expected? The center is important for the manufacturing ecosystem, particularly in this region, because it really is a commerce hub. It's a manufacturing and commerce hub that really serves the needs not only of the region, but the country at large. So when you're trying to put together all the different nodes of that ecosystem, it becomes critically important that you have the right manufacturing entities which are present within the region, that you have the right infrastructure to move goods from those manufacturing facilities to their retailers or their wholesalers or the distributor entities that are going to serve the consumers at the end of the day.
It's really important to the state of Kentucky and Tennessee to create a space that does not exist today for startups to scale up their technologies, to have access to capital and access to programming and training, but also to some of the largest manufacturers and mid-sized manufacturers in our region to have a space for innovation, to have access to those startups, to have access to the services that they need to introduce new circular technologies and processes in their facilities.
The TTSC can help our region tremendously to position the region as a leader in innovation and technology development, because not many regions have a capability similar to TTSC. Our TTSC that we have with Game Change, it's a very unique capability that we have for the region.
We have already validated that circular economy, circular manufacturing innovation is happening in other parts of the world, but nowhere in the United States.
Success in 5 years, I think, is in 3 areas. One is, what are the startups emerging from here? What's the technology emerging from here? And what is that technology doing? And what's being commercialized? What's being funded? Are VCs coming? Are you seeing more dollars invested? Are you seeing job growth occur against that? And what does that job growth mean for the region?
That we see people who are engaged in the center coming out and immediately finding work opportunities. And then more importantly, I think we see happier people who are self-satisfied with the jobs and the role they're playing. They can see very clearly how what they do, even in their daily work, how it really impacts the livelihood of the communities they're in.
I think number one is new starts. Startups started scaled technology transfer, right? Intellectual property that it moves outside of the university walls and into corporations. I think number two is this flywheel of this self-sustaining network of corporate partners, innovators, investors, manufacturers.
61,000 square feet of startups, 44 startups filling every office along one side of the TTSC in an R&D space with multiple projects ongoing in the other side. We have classrooms that are filled with future workers in circular supply chain, learning how to adopt those new technologies and think about full product life cycle in their work. We have investors that are on the floor looking at technologies being showcased, thinking about what investments that they can make. And then we have a pipeline of interested circular enabling companies, foundations, and nonprofits that are waiting to get in the doors, participate in our events, to join our membership of the Game Change Alliance.